Hi, Randy, K7AGE with an April 2021 Ham Shack update. There's been a lot of major changes here in the Ham Shack, but before we get to that, I'd just like to let you know that you can follow me on Twitter at K7AGE. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel. So before we start talking about the new stuff here, let's go back about 20 years. So back in 2000, late 2000, Yaesu introduced the FT817. This was probably the hottest thing on the market at that time, and for quite a few years. I received my FT817 in December of 2000. The first eHAM review was by K7ZOV on November 18th of 2000. And from the serial number on this radio, I know it was built in November of 2000, Lot 6, the second unit in Lot 6. And I read that as of, say, about 2014, 7 years ago, there was over 250,000 of these guys sold. So it became one of the most popular radios. The 817 and probably the Icom series of the 706s and its various flavors over the years. And, there are probably a couple other radios out there that would really stand out and sold, thousands and thousands. 7,300, the IC705, I'm sure is that way. I had a lot of fun operating this radio, phone, FM. Back in the early digital days, it was PSK 31, made lots of contacts. I took this to England and operated portable. I have a video, you can search on my channel and find it. Was it a perfect radio? No. Had a lot of areas that could have been improved, but this is 2000s technology. But one of the main things was the battery life. If you use the 8 internal AA cells, either NiCad or nickel metal hydride, or the chemistries back then, you basically got a few hours if you were lucky. The other thing that was kind of a complaint was the small display. It still worked. It turns it on, and so it was a small display. Lots of menus in here, a lot of flexibility, but a lot of menus to paw through. The other thing that happened on a lot of these, including mine, is that the finals blew out. And it had been updated a little bit over its time. A couple years later, they came out with the -ND version, which added 60 meters. But a couple years ago, it was a major kind of sneak announcement, teaser announcement from Yaesu about the FT818 coming out, and everybody had ideas of what that was going to be, and moving ahead, 18-20 years of technology. They expected a lot of improvements. What they got was, 1 watt more and a TXO and a couple other little warmed up things. So a lot of people really panned Yaesu on that. They were expecting a whole lot more, but in its time it was a breakthrough design. 160 meters through 70 centimeters, all modes, AM, FM, sideband, CW. You could use a sound card interface, work the digital modes. So over the past 20 years since that was introduced, technology has really marched along. Microprocessors have become so much more powerful. DSP back in those days was an audio DSP. Now DSP technology, along with an FPGA, a field programmable logic device, can basically direct sample the RF, just basically right at the antenna input, and do all the modulation and demodulation in digital versus in that radio, all in analog. Just think of all the adjustments that are in that radio for all the various stages. So another thing that's changed over the years is the display technology. So we've gone from little tiny LCD screens to now much larger, high resolution, full color, bright touchscreen displays, and the cell phone industry has really pushed that forward. So this whole talk about the 817 and its history and Yaesu floundering with the 818 in the QRP market means I've joined the Icom IC705 customers and users. This thing excites me. This is kind of the neatest thing out on the market, I think, right now. 160 meters through 70 centimeters, all modes. AM/FM sideband, digital modes, D-Star is all built in here. Direct sampling, the large screen, the same size, same screen as on the 7300 and the 9700 is in here. It has wireless connectivity to it, so it has Bluetooth built in, so you can use a Bluetooth headset and or a microphone to work with the radio and not have to have the coiled microphone plugged in the side. And it has Wi-Fi. So with the new software that Icom has just released, it now provides what they call access point mode. So what this means is that with your laptop, with a Wi-Fi connection using the RS-BA1 software, you can control and do all your digital modes with this radio, with your laptop, with no cables between them. So your FT8, your FL Digi, your WinLink software, all that stuff can run on your laptop wirelessly. And I'll be experimenting with that a lot in the future. Looking forward to that. There are a lot of YouTube videos on this radio. The two channels I kind of watched a lot of their videos on. One is Julian, OH8STN, operating from his tent out there in the snow with his 705. And Josh from the Ham Radio Crash Course has done several videos with this guy, including how to do the wireless and technology. I saw that and I thought I gotta have it. So, and would you believe I've had this for a week and I haven't opened it up yet. So let's do a quick unboxing. So before I pull this thing out of the box, just want to cover some of the other features here. It uses the battery basically similar to what's on the back of the ID51, the HT. It's a larger version of it, and they have an even larger version as an option for the radio. And that'll allow the radio to run in up to 5 watts. If you power it externally, you can run it up to 10 watts out. It's got GPS in here, so you know where you are. And I believe I've read where people, you can use it to set your clock on your PC, although I don't think we can do that wirelessly, maybe in the future. Got a micro USB connector for a cable going over to the computer. Got a couple buttons on the microphone that you can program up and such. So, and I think this is probably the best looking box that a ham radio has come in. Typically we get a brown cardboard box with a little bit of printing, but this is kind of nice. Lots of pictures of it being used, pictures of the side, be active. Okay, let's pull this open. There we go. Let's open it up and getting in the way of my microphone here. There's a slip from Icom saying register your radio for your warranty. A Spanish manual, won't need that. Looks like a French manual. English manual, I'll keep. A bag with a couple fuses, a little bracket, probably a connector for your key. Intricate cardboard, keep it all steady in there. Little instruction says lift the main dial side and remove transceiver. So I guess I want you to grab it on this side and pull it out. More cardboard, the standard battery, power cord with fuse, and the positive negative lead. I think it just terminates in bare wires, so the first thing we'll do is add power pole connectors to that, and we have a microphone. Okay, so I've taken it out of the plastic bag. I have the battery here, and you can see the battery slot on the back. So goes in there and goes click, and the battery's in, and see if there's any charge here. Power button here, first time turn on. Dead battery. So not to worry, I did buy the BP307 battery, and I have stuck this in my ID51 drop-in charger. Let's try this battery, the big battery, and again, got the back here, just goes in, snaps in, little latches engage. There's the power button. And I saw that it came up and said 1.12 software, so one of the first things I'll be doing is updating it with the newer software. I hate these things. I see people who leave their screen protectors on forever, so get rid of that too. You don't need it. And I think one of the clever things, whoever thought of this is a genius. They put a 1/4-20 camera socket on the bottom of the radio. That means a standard camera tripod, a clamp, all sorts of things will be available to screw into the bottom of the radio. So this is pretty neat. But that's not all. I've gone Icom crazy. I got myself a new IC7610 HF transceiver and an IC9700 2 meter, 70 centimeter, 23 centimeter transceiver. So I got the little guy and I got the big guys. And I've also moved some things around. So next to the radio here, I have my watt meter and my antenna switch. Next to that is the antenna rotator, and on the very end is the audio mixer board. I haven't wired that into the two new radios yet. And I didn't stop just buying radios. You got to have some of the other accessories to go with it. So I did buy the backpack for the 705 after watching Josh's video about this, where he had everything in here, and I think including a sandwich. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, the radio fits up here in the top, and so we'll figure that out in the future. I did get the RS-BA1 software because I want to do all these wireless connectivity things. I mentioned that I did get the larger BP307 battery for it. Also got the VS-3 Bluetooth microphone, and you can plug in your earphone. So a real useful resource is the user groups for all these radios. These radios and any radio that's out there usually has a user group that goes with it. You can find these on Facebook and also on Google I/O. They used to be on Yahoo groups, but those have mainly moved over to Google I/O. So, look, following the 705 group, a couple people recommended this little tripod, which can fit into the bottom of the radio. It starts costing you extra money, following these things. One fellow was talking about the little Bluetooth microphone. It does have a little earphone jack, so yeah, he kind of recommended these little single earpiece short cable. So I ordered up one of those. For these Icom radios, Andrew Barron's ZL3DW has a whole series of books. And these are great supplements to the Icom manuals. You get the basic manual of the radio. The advanced manual you download, so you can have that in your tablet, have it on your phone. If you got access to a fast printer, you may want to just print those out, because you'll end up going through the basic, the advanced, and these other books really help explain and step you through various setups and different procedures in the radios. So as I mentioned earlier, I've had a lot of fun over the past week using the 7610, working the last man standing special event stations. I want to thank you to everybody all the operators on that. I saw on the web that had over 60,000 QSOs. I have my log sheet here. I worked them all except one. I did not get the station that was on the studio set. They were on D-Star one day, and I kept trying and trying and trying. I finally had to give up because I had to go do other things. You had to key up to get your call on the list. After a bunch of key ups, they would then start working through the list. And I think I tried for quite a while and was never able to crack that one. but I got all the rest. For me, most everything was sideband. I did work the KA6 LMS/6 station with D-Star. I did work the KA6 LMS/5 and the W6S station on FT8. The KA6 LMS/9 station, I got him on there on FT4. So using the digital modes on the radio, that all worked fine. Hooking up your radios to your computer usually requires some type of a USB cable. And I've seen reports, again, this is why you subscribe to these user groups, to see what other people are experiencing. People experience strange behavior when using the digital modes. One I experienced with my Elecraft K3 was that I was getting RF into the USB line. So with the FT8 software, the WJST, when you go to transmit, it reads the transmit frequency back. Well, if it has some RF on that line, it can't read it, and it turns the transmitter off, and it will drive you nuts. Select none for your serial control and see if it still works. Back then I was using a signal link with a USB that had a Vox in there that would trigger the transmit, so I didn't have to rely on serial communications for the push to talk. That's a lot to follow. But from following these user groups, what either the 9700 or the 7610 group recommended were these trip-light USB cables. And so what's nice about these cables is that they have a ferrite core on each lead. So this is the little square connector that goes in the back of the radio, and this is the standard USB. So trying to keep the RF out of the USB leads. And these are trip-light. Part number's right here, but it's a U023-006. And I bought 3 of these on Newegg. I've been searching for a version with the micro USB with the ferrites on each end for the 705, but I haven't found that yet. But as I showed you in a previous shack video, I have a whole bunch of ferrites I can just clip on to a cable. I think that wraps it up for now. I think I'm really going to enjoy my new 705. I know I'm enjoying the 7610 and the IC9700, and I just noticed the clock in here is matching my GPS clock up here on my operating desk, so apparently the GPS must have locked up and set that. I don't know. Haven't touched the menus on here yet, so I got some ideas for this. I got some more accessories on order. We'll see those in the future and see how they work out. So again, this is Randy, K7AGE, and 73, and out.